Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Total Package Podcast, ladies.
Hello.
Thanks.
Tonight we're talking about women. It is women who've inspired us, women who matter to us, women who have made a difference. But first, a little public service announcement to address recent news. The recent viral news, pun totally intended. The COVID-19 infection, aka coronavirus, has been in the news a lot lately. Now, it's a big deal because it is a virus that nobody has immunity for. It's a totally novel virus. And the big thing is, what's been seen is that people that are immunocompromised, are very old, or have comorbidities such as asthma, bronchitis, COPD, etc., are really at risk for getting very ill from this. So the idea is to follow the recommendations. Wash your hands. Avoid crowds, avoid travel, in order to not carry and spread the disease to the people in our communities that are at most at risk. The rest of us are probably going to be totally fine, but the people that don't have the immunity to fight it, we need to protect them. And for God's sake, people, stop buying all the damn toilet paper. It's not a GI bug. Public service announcement, over.
Yay! Woo!
Yay!
Right. That's fantastic.
That was.
Yes.
Well, thank you. But I figure every one of their brothers been buying this stuff, and it's driving me nuts because it is, unless you cough and crap your pants on the regular, you don't need it.
Hey, don't judge my life. Like,
Well, does it count if you sneeze and maybe tinkle a little?
JD coughed and farted last night at the same time. I think he scared himself.
there's this tweet that went around that I liked. It's like, I used to cough to hide a fart. Now I fart to hide a cough.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Jesus.
Okay, I like that one.
I like that.
Fart jokes are funny. Anyhow.
They are.
And here we are. We have some people in chat. Hello.
Mr.
But
Lowry,
today-
what's up?
All right.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, Russ.
My coffee delivery.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Can you
So-
deliver to my house, please?
So, ladies, let me ask you, ladies. Do you guys know what this past Sunday was?
Yes.
Of course.
Of course we do.
I don't. Tell me. What was it?
This past Sunday. It was
Sorry.
National Women's Day.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
That's the reason we're doing tonight's show on women. Because, well, who else are a bunch of women going to talk about but a bunch of women? Yay!
Why not? Well, considering the fact we make up half the population, and half of history, we definitely should.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
And
been a
because you
lot
know
of
we're
women in
awesome.
I
history
think we
that.
should have a lot more say than we do.
Oh, amen to that, sister.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying anything.
But women have played a major role in history ever since the very beginning of time. The hunters and gatherers. The hunters wouldn't have survived without the gatherers. You know, it's been, at the whole story of Adam and Eve. I mean, women have been at the forefront of history from the get-go, and it's time that we get our page in history.
I think we got a lot of pages in history.
I agree.
Yeah.
Not to be a douche here, but like,
Well, we should definitely be a little bit more highlighted.
Yes.
It's the
Yeah, that's the
appreciation
thing.
of it. I think
Yeah.
that's what people
Yeah,
want
that's-
to focus on.
I
That's
agree.
exactly
On
right.
Women's Day, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
We should allow our
y'all
titties
know
to be
that
free.
that in 1917, in the capital of the Russian Empire, women walked out of their jobs and to protest for bread and peace. They wanted to get rid of the Bolshevik bull and the Tsar, and they wanted change in the country. It was the first of the two revolutions that began and ended the Russian Revolution. So women were actually the cause of an entire dynasty.
That's pretty amazing.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
drink, but here's my coffee.
Cheers. My iced tea.
There you go. Cheers.
Well, this is,
I just
water
finished my
flavored.
wine.
I have to work tomorrow, so I skipped the whiskey and Coke.
Damn it. But I like y'all, feisty cat.
My mug tonight is a homage to last week of the I Love Trash. That's Oscar the Grouch.
Nice.
That's my alcohol mug. But my water mug is my Keith Haber. I can't see it. Keith Haber, Try Guys Patreon exclusive.
Nice.
Mug. So I'm all like, it came in today. I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I just have my old mom mug.
So,
It just says mom.
hey, I've got my skull face for president, okay?
Sweet.
Nice.
We have one
That's
of those.
what we need right now.
Yes.
Russ and I fight over this. It officially became mine. So, let me ask you, ladies.
Mhm.
Do anything special for Women's Day?
I didn't
Did
do anything
you-
specifically, but I worked, unfortunately.
I got some early birthday
did you do your
presents.
typical women duties? Yay!
I think I was kind of just lazy.
I slept all day.
I was
Nice.
Oh no.
Can't do that anymore.
Who was that?
I don't know.
Who's this?
Oh, I think
Kate,
Kat is out.
Kat, your headphones are out.
Ah,
There
sorry.
you are. There you are. There you are.
Yep. Yeah. Let's mute it. I'm gonna mute her real quick and see if the haze goes.
Okay.
Is that better?
Talk again, Kate.
We good?
Yeah,
Yep.
Oh, right. Sorry about that. I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
we're good.
that's okay. It happens. Technical
It got
malfunctions have been
fuzzy.
going around.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's on the internet trying to find out if they have coronavirus. So
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. There's not enough bandwidth to go around.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the
Not for
college
sure.
students are, not online doing work.
true.
Uh-oh.
True.
Yeah, they did that with all the colleges around here. They're putting them all on online school.
Same
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah, my daughter's actually prepping for back-to-back midterms. So
Oh,
she's got
Dude,
German
probably a
this
little
week
stressed.
and she's got math next week. So
My daughter's starting
yeah, a
charter
little
school.
bit. You can say
tomorrow.
that. She's a little. Yay!
Yeah,
Oh,
That's
good. I hope
awesome.
she likes it.
she's enrolled. She gets her laptop tomorrow. She starts her courses tomorrow. She's excited. I'm excited
wonderful.
for her. I would have loved charter school. I wish I'd went.
That's awesome.
That
Yeah.
is very cool.
Anyway, hey, she's my
That is
inspiration.
really
As far
freaking
as
cool.
can I just throw that in there? That kid. I'm super. That's my
Please.
female inspiration at this current time in my life. Like there are other women, but like somebody I'm directly in contact with, that's her right there. That kid.
Mhm.
Because
That's awesome.
because she's brave, and that's
Mhm.
important. That's super important to me. She could not handle what was
Right.
going on in her situation, and she said, "I got to get out of here." And she
Mhm.
had the balls to get up and go. Like I appreciate that in a person. Like
Yeah.
you can stick around and be miserable, or you can move on and try to make your life better. And I just at 15,
Right.
she's already made that decision, and I'm like, dude, you're like so my hero right now. Even though
Mhm.
you're
That's awesome.
a
That's
child, you know what I mean? Like, anyway.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Children are wonderful. They really truly are.
I spent the day with her. on Sunday.
Awesome. I agree. I think my daughter is a big inspiration to me too. She's going to college. She
Good.
doesn't have her license yet, so she decided, all right, I'm taking all of my classes online. She's taking 5 classes this semester.
Good.
Wow.
And I
Good for
I
her.
thought she said she was going to do 5 classes. Yeah. I was on the phone with her today, and she said, "I'm stressed." I said, "Well, yeah, you're taking 5 classes." She told me flat out. She said, "At the end of the semester, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to be done."
Are they 3 credits each?
Yeah. She can theoretically graduate. Will finish her 2 years in a year and a half
Nice.
because of all the credits that she came in
Awesome.
with out of high school. So yeah.
Yeah, 15 credits online. That's a lot.
That is a lot of credits.
Mhm.
I was able to do like 12.
Yeah.
For me, 12 was enough for me to when it came to college, a semester.
Yeah.
Being able to do 15.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I
remember I was in grad school.
Barely.
I had to do 21 to 22 credits a semester.
Oh no.
Oh.
I lived
How do
on
you still
coffee,
have her?
which is probably why. Sorry?
I think she.
Well, how do you still have hair?
Oh.
I would have ripped all of mine out.
Well, I smoked like a chimney, I drank like a fish, and I guzzled coffee by the gallon. I wouldn't do it again if you held a gun to my head, but you know what? I love what it turned me into, so it worked out.
That's cool. That's cool.
Well, cheers
love
to
that
you, Miss
final
Kate.
Yeah.
Cheers
Final
to you.
results. Final results.
Exactly.
Go through hell to
Thank
get those final results.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And anyone who said I couldn't do it, I basically just ignored them.
Heck yeah.
Oh, I had that too.
Yep.
There you go.
I had a lot of naysayers when I went back to school to finish.
Yep. We had to be our own heroes at sometimes, you know?
That's when you go middle
Mhm.
fingers in the air.
Yeah. You said it, Kate. Kat,
Straight
you
up
said it.
middle fingers in the air.
I think sometimes it's better that way, you know? Like
Yeah.
you can have inspiration from others, you can
Oh, yeah.
look up to other people to some degree, but in the end you got to be your own hero, you know? Nobody else is going to
Exactly.
rescue you. Nobody else is going to
Yeah,
do it for you.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Live your life, live it on your
Absolutely.
terms. And
Absolutely.
whoever doesn't agree with it, they can go fly a kite.
That's a nice way of saying it. I was thinking something different.
I was thinking something else too, but I'm trying to, you know.
You guys are so like, I feel like such a horrible person sometimes because you guys are so plain. I'm like, fuck them. Like I'm just like, I can just jam it up their rear end, you know? Like, and you guys are like, thank you, flying kite. I feel
I
like
was
a
thinking
jerk. I
something
do.
worse.
No, don't.
Oh, I curse like a sailor, but I figure, you know, trying to be,
Yeah,
you know,
we are
slightly good.
on like internets with
And
people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, the internet is forever, so you know. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I'll drop an F-bomb or two at some point. I'm sure I will.
We'll get
Guaranteed.
there. We'll get there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what are we doing on this ladies'
Okay.
journey?
Well, I was thinking, you know, we can discussion about what we have found in history or found current day that actually had a little bit of an influence in how we thought. I love the Revolutionary War. I grew up near Yorktown, Virginia, which was where the end of the Revolutionary War happened. And I fell in love with it, but then I also fell in love with the women who spied during the Revolutionary War.
Mm-hmm.
There was a young lady named Anna Smith Strong who was based out of Long Island, New York, and she would pass messages from one spy to another in using her laundry. She would hang. When she had a message, she would hang black petticoats and handkerchiefs up on her line. And depending on how many handkerchiefs would tell them which cove to go to pull the message. And
That's really
the Brits
cool.
were right there. They had no idea the entire time. And this entire spying was never caught. It went through the entirety of the Revolutionary War and no one was ever caught. So, you know, women spies even that far back where women had but they have some power.
I find that very intriguing.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
That
I
is
don't
very
have a
cool.
lot of
It is
history.
No, all of mine is history because I love spy stuff too. I'm a big James Bond fan, so
yeah.
I love the spy stuff and the history stuff. Like Julia Child as a World War II spy.
Oh,
I'm thinking,
not-
okay, so
I
she's
did not
having a little
know that.
flambe.
That's not common knowledge. Yeah.
no.
She
I didn't know that either.
No.
Actually,
Yeah. She would carry messages. But her biggest thing was that she helped develop a shark repellent to keep sharks off of the mines. So
Okay,
she was cooking back then, but it was just with other stuff. But yeah, she was cooking with more. She would carry stuff like that. Exactly.
A little more wine.
Or,
more butter.
everything's good with a little more wine.
True that.
Yes.
She also, there were a lot of women during World War II that did a lot. There were a lot of women that ran the French resistance. They had high ranks in the French resistance, and they would go out with guns and they would fight. There were women who would sleep their way to generals and then poison them and kill them. There was a woman who was working as a carpenter, and she would get access to the camps, to the extermination camps, and she would rescue the babies in her toolbox and hide them in the bottom of her toolbox. She would give them small amounts of drugs so that they would sleep, and she would smuggle them out of Auschwitz.
That's because early on,
wonderful
women realized that they had one thing that could get them access anywhere.
Exactly.
How about it, Grims?
And we're not talking about a smile.
No, we're not talking about the wink and a smile. No. We're
The holding out, as they like to say.
The little
Yeah.
I remember
shake,
a story. There's a story from World War II. I forget her name, but she was a Jewish prisoner, and she was being led into a chamber, and she started doing a striptease for the guards. They obviously became, drooling morons and just stared at her. She grabbed one of their guns and gunned down a few of them. Now, she did unfortunately die, but she took out a few of those bastards with her.
Hey, good for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Badass bitches in the world.
Exactly.
Good for her. She took some of the...
And I love that. I truly do. I look up to women like that have the guts to do things like that. Like the women, the phone bank women from World War I who went over into a war zone to operate the phone banks because they were quickest and they could get it done way faster than the men could operating the switchboards. And they would stick around. There's a story of a group of them were operating and the war was coming towards them. They were getting bombed and they stayed until they absolutely had to leave. And then they fled with their helmets on and fled out the door. But they're relatively unknown because nobody really talked about them, but they were definitely pivotal to the war effort,
Absolutely. Stuff like that. That's what gets me. It's like women have been such an important part of history, but a lot of times it's not included as much as it should be.
Well, we were watching.
Right.
Go ahead, Kate.
I was about to say, like, even in the discovery of DNA, Watson and Crick, everyone knows their names, but nobody knows the name of Franklin. I think her first name was Rosalind, I believe, who is the woman who actually is the one who discovered the double helix formation and did the work for them. She was the one who actually did the experiment that actually showed the DNA, but most people never heard of her.
Exactly.
Well, we were watching one of the Expedition Unknown, and he was talking about, her name is Boudica. She was a warrior queen in England when the Romans were invading, and she was able to fight back.
She almost got the Romans out of the country.
And she did it because after her husband died and she got power, she became the queen. The Romans came in and took everything, took her daughters, raped them, and she was just like, no, I'm done with this. And she went after them, and she was deadly. Like, she took out a lot of Roman soldiers and almost got them out. And not many people remember her. She's not a known, figure in history. And there's actually a statue of her in London, and people don't know who she is. A lot of people don't know who she is.
Is she one of your top?
Wow.
Yeah, I would say, ever since learning about her, I've been a little more fascinated. I have another one that I can talk about whenever. My other one, obviously, if anyone knows who I am and what I like, is J.K. Rowling. I mean, obviously, everyone knows who she is, the author of the Harry Potter series. But the big reason why is I look up to her is because she actually is the reason why I truly learned to read. Because I wanted to read her books, and the only way I was going to be able to is I had to learn how to read, and I forced myself and taught myself so I could read her books.
That's
and
cool.
Those are the books that I go to when I need something to cheer me up, or I'm like, I want to read something. What do I have? I go for Harry Potter.
That's cool. That's really cool.
And she was, awesome. And she is a true rags to riches story. I mean, she started off with nothing. She was a single mother, divorcee, all of that. And she became one of the richest ladies. She was a billionaire. She donated a good chunk of her money to charities.
Yeah.
Didn't she start?
Sorry.
You're gonna ask the same thing. You're gonna ask the same thing I am.
Maybe. Go ahead. You go
about
first.
Did she really start planning Harry Potter while on welfare, sitting at a coffee shop with the baby in the stroller and writing it on napkins?
Yep.
I think so.
That's
and
true.
I've also saw is that she started the idea she was on a train. And some of it was when she was on a train. It was a train that was delayed, and she just started writing these ideas.
Well, a lot of it also she pulled from like her life and experience, like specifically the Dementors being depression, when she had lost her mother and how she was feeling about it, and how it can just like suck your soul and pull you in, and you need this thing to get yourself out, and that's where Patronuses versus Dementors and how that aspect is that it could be around you, you don't know, and so like for people who are non-muggles. They don't know that a Dementor is around them and doing that type of stuff. And this kind of gives like a reason and a thing. It's just how it impacts you. And it's just kind of interesting that she brings those aspects into her own writing for you to kind of see. The other big one being she wanted Voldemort to have a little bit of what he hated, to kind of show, kind of similar to Hitler and how he was part Jewish as well. And that kind of aspect of hate building from within and kind of really going ham and all that type of stuff. It was almost kind of like that little characteristic. I don't know. She just really pulled a lot of stuff in there, more deep than most people probably realize. They didn't think of it as a children's book, but she says, "Oh, it's not children. This is not a children's story. It starts with a death. Like it starts with 2 deaths. In fact, like this is not a kid's story."
Well, it's funny because people, when the book first came out, people in England would be taking dust covers off of other books and covering the Harry Potter books because they didn't want to be seen reading a children's book.
Oh wow.
Like people
totally
would be on the train with some dust cover on and they're reading Harry Potter because they didn't want to be seen as reading a children's book. And now everyone
I'm reading War of the Worlds. Harry Potter.
And actually, and a lot of her inspiration is pulled from her life, like the characters, like some of her teachers. She's, that's how she's made some of the professors, is from people in her life.
Knight of Ren just said that it's the Knight of Ren just said it's the same with Tolkien. He served in World War I, and he took influence from the trenches for the Hobbit holes.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally cool.
That is actually really cool. Yeah. Well, authors can be amazing heroes at any point in our lives. You know, I remember when I was a kid, there was this book I read at least 20 times. It was called Julie of the Wolves. It was by a lady named Craighead George was her last name. I read that book a million times, to the point where, like, I go to 5th grade and my English teacher hands that out. What's going to be our book, and I pulled my copy out of my book bag.
Nice.
And for some reason, that book like spoke to me as a kid. I haven't read it in years, but it was about a young girl who was like facing the world on her own, and for some reason that like really spoke to me because of things that were going on at the time.
Right.
And that book saved me. It made me realize, like, you know, you can get through things alone. You can battle through. You can survive.
Mm-hmm.
And that woman that wrote that book, she actually wrote a couple of books that actually really spoke to me, but that one was the big one. Like, she was a major hero to me growing up because, like, she helped me get through everything.
Right.
With those books.
That's pretty cool. That's amazing. See, I don't have female writers that I read that did that for me. You know, I read Stephen King. I figured there was nothing that was going to scare me more than my real life. So I wanted to find something that was going to scare me so that my real life didn't seem so scary. So I started reading Stephen King when I was like 13.
Nice.
12 or 13. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, if we could throw a few more female authors, I would say there's one would probably not necessarily that influenced me personally as an author, but I did watch a lot of the movies, would be Jane Austen. That being an interesting one where she kind of wanted to make her females, or at least her main females, more independent in that sense. But considering the time, she still has to do stuff. And if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, so I apologize if this is incorrect. But I feel like some of it was like they kept trying to make her women more, you know, docile or whatever, trying to go with the man and all that stuff. And she just wanted to push more for them to be more independent and things of that nature. Which is kind of interesting that they just keep making her movies over and over and over again. There is such a huge fandom for it, in a sense, specifically with women, of course, because, you know, their love stories and all that type of stuff. But I've watched a couple other movies, and I've definitely, you know, I find it interesting. I mean, it's always interesting to kind of see those different things. Another one that kind of popped up to mind is Judy Blume. I don't know if any of you read some of that stuff. The ones for me, I know there's the big girl one, which is the Hey, God, It's Me, Margaret, or something like that. I don't remember if that's it. I was more of the Fudge books. I thought that was kind of funny because I thought that kid was hilarious. And he was a little shit.
Super Fudge.
Yeah, Super Fudge and all that stuff. But those both probably being two female authors that I think that a lot of women probably are influenced in some sense, but maybe not necessarily directly as they may think of it.
I grew up on Judy Blume too. And that one book, you know, about the bigger kids.
Yep.
I actually fell in love with, I never read the entire Dragon Riders of Pern, but I fell in love with Dragon Song by Anne McCaffrey. And I fell in love with it because it was this girl, and nobody believes her that the dragons are still there. And she ends up using her music that she was denied. Like, her family was telling her, no, you can't pursue your music. And she ended up using her music to bring the dragons and to save the planet, you know, to save Pern. So it was one of those ones where I was like, yeah, it's okay to rebel, to go. If it's something that's in your heart and you just can't stop from being pulled to it, then it's okay, because it's going to work out. Eventually it's going to work out. So yeah, I read that about probably 7 or 8 times. I read it more as an adult than I did as a kid.
I think the one book I read constantly when I was younger was A Wrinkle in Time. Like, once I got past the Judy Blume stage,
oh yes,
I read that book. I think I probably broke the spine on that book right before I hit my Stephen King stage. I was probably like 4th, 5th grade and started reading that book and just I didn't put it down for a really long time. And she's an amazing writer too. I can't ever say her name properly. It's like Madeline Angle or something. I can't pronounce shit. I'm a retard. Fine.
Oh,
You're not a retard.
No, you're not.
But she's also an amazing writer and really big influence on like my sisters, and what got my youngest sister into Harry Potter was her as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
well, books are such an important part of life.
it's actually it's actually funny because I remember learning about Harry Potter. Well, I'd known about it, but I remember after school being home watching the Rosie O'Donnell show when she had J.K. Rowling on, and I think this was by the time like 3 of her books had been released, like the first 3, and everyone in the audience got a copy, and I was like, I so need to read these books now, and that's what I did. And it took me a while to get through the first one just because it was kind of dry in the beginning, but now usually the first. I'll be honest, I usually skip the first and second book and go straight to the third because I don't like the second book.
It's British writing and British comedy too are kind of difficult to get into at first.
Oh, I love it.
Once you get into it though, it's really freaking cool. Really cool. I love Brits. They're so funny.
have you guys seen like there's it's a little off topic, but like on BuzzFeed and stuff or Board Panda, they'll do collection of British tweets. And I laugh my ass off every time I read them, like collection of British tweets, and it's just different enough, and it's like the same stuff that we all say like here, but the way they say it, it's hilarious.
I probably have. For me, it was "Are You Being Served?" I don't know if you guys ever remember that show.
Oh my god, I remember that show.
I probably watched every episode of that show. I love that freaking show. Yeah, right. Freaking hilarious show. But anyway,
and then like the old lady with the poofy hair.
It was always a different color, like pink or blue or whatever. Yeah, yeah, I love that show. But so what about beyond
one of our
authors?
technicians has a habit of coming up to the counter and saying that and saying, "Are you free?" I'm like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
I had sorry, go ahead.
And I was just about to say, it's better than what happens at my work. People just come up to me and like stand off to my side and just stand there. I'm like, okay, stop creeping. Just ask me what you want. Like they'll be standing like here. And I'm like, just talk. Stop lurking.
Yeah, I don't like lurkers. Like either talk or go away.
Yeah, no doubt.
What were you going to say, Grim?
I had to research something for women that I guess are kind of influential in the sense. I went back to manga and specifically had done a group called Clamp. So I know them as a group of 4 women who, of course, create their own series, and they draw everything. They create their stories. They have it serialized, and they, a lot of it has been drawn into anime. It's once really popular, but when I was researching them, I found more interesting that they were actually 11 girls originally, but then as time went on, and the pressure of doing everything that they slowly dwindled down to the 4 that are like that are today. And the 4 of them actually had come they're very private. They don't really do appearances. They don't do anything like out in the open for security purposes. They just don't. They want to keep to themselves and do their own thing and not have anyone follow them or whatnot. But they actually came to US one time, and I happened to be at the convention that they came in, and I didn't know who they were or anything of that nature, but I had seen some of their stuff later. But essentially these 4 women, they if anyone is familiar with any kind of anime or whatnot, ones that they do is Tokyo Babylon. They did X, Card Captor Sakura, which I guess is probably going to be the most common one that most people kind of know. And they also did Chobits. That was a really popular one, I remember, for a time being. And then the one that I know them specifically was this one called, I think you should just call it Holic, but it's got XXX in front of it, Holic, and Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, which I thought was kind of a little more interesting because it was 2 manga series, different styles, but they were actually merged together. and they're kind of known a lot in their world to reuse their characters. Same personalities, but just different worlds, so they have no tie to their original character in another series, but that they kind of reuse them again, and so it kind of brings a little universe in, and that's where a lot of people become diehard fans for them. What I like is that although there's 4 women, there's one that kind of is the head that comes up with the main idea, but then the other 3 kind of, they talk and they create the characters and the base, and they come up with like a character sheet, almost like D&D. And nice. This is the personality that they write and they draw and whatnot from it. That's
cool.
Yeah, and then when they're creating the series, they actually know the end point. So they know how they want it to end, but then they build up to it and whatnot. So it's kind of an interesting, I think, they were very, I feel like there's a lot of women manga creators, but I think they're more just like the story. I think they work with a lot of men, but this one being like a full-fledged 4-woman team and they work together harmoniously, it seems kind of interesting that they've been able to keep it. And they live apparently, or at least work together. They don't go off and do their own thing. They all just work together and make sure that they keep that time.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's really cool.
I love anime too. That's super interesting. Holy crap. Wow. And you met them?
I didn't meet them. I just happened to be at the convention, but I remember being at there. It was at Anime Expo, and it was like the first time in the United States. There's 4 of them, and they just decided, let's do it. And apparently these 4 women were, because of their series, had brought a lot more into the anime culture. And I do remember it really starting to explode around that time. And their series definitely helped influence a lot of people to watching more anime and being more into it and going to conventions. And they were part of the United States being more of that culture in that sense. Because when I first started going to conventions, which is not too much earlier than that, the anime was very small. It just wasn't, it wasn't much. I was still trying to figure out where to find some of that stuff. And this just was part of that big
That's explosion. Phenomenal. Wow. Incredible. Cool. Very cool. Yeah. I dig that a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
Heck yeah.
Really yeah. See, my long-term influence was, and I always say her name wrong, so yell at me if you want to, but her name is Yayoi Kusama. Do you guys know who that is?
Mm-mm.
She's an artist. She's currently like 90 years old. She's from Japan originally. She moved to the United States like late 50s, early 60s. She was a fashion designer. She's a sculptor. She's most well known for polka dots. Does this sound familiar?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I have seen her around. She lives in New York City, right? Or kind of
not anymore. She actually lives she opted out, made the choice to live in a mental institution.
Okay.
That's her.
Oh, wow.
That's her home. She lives in a mental hospital because she can concentrate on her art, and her art is what aids in her mental illness. So, yeah, I mean, at 90 years old, I mean, come on, man. Like, if that's where you're happy, then you be there, you drink your coffee, you paint your polka dots. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. No, I have seen
yeah.
Her around,
yeah, but she still does works. She still does like gallery shows. She's still like, there's stuff all over. You can even look it up on YouTube as far as like biography stuff. She's a pretty amazing woman, and being the fact that she is from Japan and she came to the United States in the late 60s and made a name for herself as a female artist, she blows every category for me out of the water, like struggling with mental illness, everything, like all of the pinpoints to me that make someone an influence in my life. She hits all of them. I respect people who push through damage of any kind. Like you can sit and complain or you can move on, and she's definitely an amazing woman.
I know. I've seen like, the awesome YouTube videos or the little Facebook videos, and she's popped up. So that's the only reason why. As you said dots, I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing it. It's kind of interesting how she is. She's just, I love dots. I just love
Kusama. them. Yeah. Yeah. Check her out, man. If anybody's interested. Polka dots are cool,
Absolutely.
That's totally cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted I wanted to paint my stairs on a condo we used to live in, polka dot. The condo association didn't like the idea.
No.
I wanted to paint them pink with purple polka dots. They didn't like it. Yeah. You know. Tried to give the community a little character. I didn't like the idea.
I like what Night Ren just brought up. Mary Severn.
I just saw that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that is amazing.
That
Good
is
for
so
her.
Another probably male-dominated field coming in.
Yeah.
Very.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
I feel like all major, I mean, anything you think of that's pretty major as far as career-wise has been dominated by men. Music, arts of all kinds,
right.
Anything you can possibly, like food, all of it. So I'm glad that we're kind of talking about this and getting some unknown people out into the open. It's good. That's good.
Right. Well, I tell you what, I work in a male-dominated industry, and it's some days it's not as hard as it to make a name for yourself. It depends on what you're doing and how you're doing it. But I have so much respect for women that jump into something like that and jump into an industry that is so male-dominated and go, you know what? F all of y'all. I'm going to do this better than you ever could. And I love that. You know, that attitude, that because you have to have that attitude, I do believe, you know, take control and do it.
Yeah. I actually got
most definitely
blackballed out of that industry. I got shoved out of the car industry. Yeah.
Some days I wish they would.
I tried to sell cars.
Out of it, but
I sold cars for 3 months and they pushed me out of that. Unfortunately. Yeah.
Was a little just when it comes to, I would probably say, I almost feel it's, how do I say it? Like taken advantage of being a woman in that situation, not just, you know, working in it, but when you go to get the car thing, I feel like every time I go, there's like a million things that are wrong with my car. And it's like, are they actually wrong with my car? Or are they just telling it because they know I'll spend some money on it because I don't want to be left stranded? And it's like, do you not want to take the chance of your car being fixed because then you're going to be stranded on the side of the road? And you don't know what's going to happen to you when you're stranded on the side of the road and whatnot from it. And you almost go like down this whole path. It's all like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
That was a big deal growing up for my household because my dad was a mechanic. He owned his own garage. He towed cars. He plowed snow. Like he had 3 girls. I mean, he was the only guy in a house full of girls. We had a female dog. We had 2 female cats. We had female guinea pigs. Like he was the only dude. It was a rough situation for a while.
He was surrounded by estrogen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, he tiptoed in that house. I'll tell you that. No, he was the comic. He was definitely the comic relief, you know, like that we all needed, and that was the good part. But it was really a big stickler for him that we knew enough to get us by about vehicles. You know what I mean? And of course, like if we ever had questions, we were to ask him. And he's come across situations, especially with my younger sisters, where he's had to contact a garage for them and been like, no. You need to stop. Because it is very common for women to get taken advantage of in a automobile garage industry type situation. So I know how to change my own brakes. I know how to change my own tires. I know how to change my own oil. You know, like these things are super important because you can go in for a simple oil change and then have a phone call that says, okay, $500 later, these are all the things that are wrong with your car. So
my grandfather,
I have customers that it happens almost daily where I'll answer the phone and they'll go, oh, I need to talk to parts. And I'll go, this is parts. And they'll go, oh, okay, you might be able to help me. And then they're asking for prices on brakes. I'm going, excuse me? Yeah, I'm only the assistant manager, you know, or I've been told, oh, I need to speak to the manager. And I go, you're talking to her.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, okay.
Can I talk to the man who's?
That's
Yeah,
why
the
they pushed me
manager.
out.
Yeah.
Though. Like that's why they pushed me out because once it started going around that there was a female selling cars, I had women coming in to see me because I wasn't trying to like rake them over. I was making deals. I was making deals left and right on. I was like coming down into dealer pricing for people, all kinds of shit. I got in trouble for that like 3 times my last month in, but I outsold everybody at the dealership. Used car and everything. Like they were pissed. And I was like, yeah, I'm coming into work in a mini skirt and I'm outselling all you motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Because I knew what I was talking about and I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. You know what I mean? Like I felt bad enough trying to sell something to somebody that's like, I mean, $30,000 on a vehicle and anymore is not much, but that's a hell of an investment in your pocket, you know?
Yep.
And I felt bad. Like,
Oh yeah.
I'm not selling somebody like a $500 pair of glasses. I'm selling somebody like, I don't know, 5 years worth of their income, depending on
Exactly.
what they could pull together. And it always felt bad. What were you going to say about your grandfather, Kat?
I was just saying, my grandfather, same situation. He was the only man in the house, had 3 daughters. Now he worked construction, so he made sure all his daughters knew how to do basic household repairs, handle a hammer.
That's another one.
And he actually made sure every single one of them knew how to drive a stick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His rationale was,
Yeah.
he wanted them to be able to drive anything, anytime, anywhere.
That I can understand that part, but God, driving stick sucks so bad.
No,
it's terrible. It's horrible.
No, it's awful.
I love driving stick.
My mom can only drive
love
stick.
it.
She hates driving automatic. She can't. It's like impossible for her.
My
Yeah, I
mom
tried
grew
to
up
learn,
in a household similar to that. She was the oldest of 5. Her dad was, always, he made sure she knew everything she needed about cars, about basic, household stuff, everything. And he's actually the one who pushed her into going into math and physics for school. And she went in, and so it was actually funny. She went to get a car. This was my senior year of high school, and I needed a new car, and she was going to need a new car. So we go in, and she basically looks at the sales guy and goes, "You ain't dicking me around. I know what I'm looking at. I know what is going on." And so we actually ended up getting 2 cars, and then as she's going through the deal, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, we have a trade-in too." And it was actually really funny.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
That's real cool. Yeah.
So we have strong influences. We have some, strong history in our families as far as like people trying to help women get into a more positive role. Those of us, that have had that kind of background. So that's good. We got some of that going on. What else?
Well, we definitely have some female gripes. Don't we, Miss Lady Love? We have some major female gripes. And I mean it's mostly because of men, but this is one of the
rough.
Female gripes mostly because of men.
Rough.
Mostly. No. Well, I swear men created the bra, but we're just, I've been told that corsets are more comfortable. I don't know. I will try that out eventually.
Not so much. They're really actually not.
It depends on if it's one that's meant for you and actually made for you. It can be very comfortable, but the thing is you have to get used to it after time. It's uncomfortable at the beginning, but it's like you are going to have the posture. You're going to have all that. It does help support your back if you have back problems and things of that nature. But yes, it's not going to be like, ooh, I'm sleeping on clouds is so perfect, but it can help.
When I put a corset on, I put my boobs up at my chin. I was like, get out of my way.
But that might be
choking.
Yeah,
but you can get the under bust one that just helps enough to support the back and things of that nature. So they're all useful ones, and you can definitely get one made for you, customized. But those you do spend more money on and such, $200 is
Right.
I feel like as a woman, that's almost the most difficult thing to find that is comfortable. You know, like jeans suck. I don't care what anybody says.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's because we're not waist size. There's
I'm
waist
so
size
picky.
and height, and then there's hips, and then there's thighs, and then there's calves, and everything's just different on every single person.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't keep a consecutive option available.
No.
You know,
Nope.
like it's always changing. Like every 5 years, the fashion changes enough that the jeans you were buying are no longer on shelves. You know, but
Not only that, the common thing is the sizing be not a standard sizing for women.
Not
because
ever.
it's designed to trick and fuck with us. Like it really is literally versus
There you
men's
go.
pants, which are designed to be, this is a 34 waist because it's 34 inches. While women's is either I'm a size 18 over here and then I'm a size 2 over here. But
the other thing is you have to make sure, like, are you buying junior sizes or women's sizes? Because that's another one that they throw in there that's a little bit of a whammy, you know?
And the fun part is trying to find clothes for plus size.
Oh, yeah.
That is actually trendy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was younger, I actually dressed horribly because all of my availability for clothes was like, made me look like a 40-year-old housewife. It's like, no, I'm an 18-year-old girl. I want to dress nice. And it took, it took a while, but finally stuff started coming out that realized, women come in different sizes.
Other options.
Not all tiny. I mean, I'm 6'1", ladies.
Damn, girl, you got legs for days. Legs for days.
Exactly. And trying to find pants, let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It took forever. But finally, the company started realizing women are taller, women are rounder, women have boobs. You know, it's like, we're not all.
We have an ass.
Yeah, we're not all like these tiny little nothing. And it's like, finally, but for the longest time, the clothes weren't there.
Yeah.
Or they were for old women. It's like, no, women don't get fat when they're older necessarily. Some women are just born big, you know?
Well, it's also like in my, like, up until this point in life, like jeans were okay to wear anywhere, you know? Now, the only reason why like Lululemon or whatever is so popular is because everyone can fit stretchy pants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Do they look good on everybody? I don't know if I agree with that, but everybody can wear them. Everybody can comfortably put them on. You can everything's standard sizes and it all just works. But this is why jeans are kind of obsolete now. No one.
Yeah, everyone wears workout clothes and just overall type stuff.
I love my jeggings.
Yeah, jeggings. That's I found one of my favorite pants that I have are Walmart pants, and the only reason why I like them is because they're practically jeggings. They're a stretch type, stretch pants type thing. But they actually do look like jeans, so I can wear them to work. But it's like. When you find an actual jean, it's like, okay, they fit my thighs, but my waist is now like out to here.
Right.
So,
or God forbid you have that one day you're like slightly bloated or something and you go to put your jeans on, you're like you're stuffing them in and then
ridiculous.
It doesn't fit.
It's pushing against your stomach and you're uncomfortable and it's like
options really just aren't there. They're not. I remember growing up, like my best friend and I, like the girl I hung out with the most in high school towards the tail end, her and I were built completely differently. Like I was like, we weighed the same, but we were kind of opposites, like I was like a toothpick with balloons and she was like a toothpick with lower balloons. You know what I mean? So it was like a reverse situation. So, and I was long in the legs. So I would buy jeans and they would ride up over my ankles when I'd sit down. And she would buy jeans, and when she sat down, the back would gap out because of the way it would pull on her thighs and her butt. You know, it would just pull back on them. And then, like she's got dudes like trying to throw erasers in the back of her pants the whole time and all this shit. Like it was, but it's one of those situations where like, we could go buy the same size jeans and they would still fit both of us differently for that reason,
No.
And we need the sisterhood of the traveling pants.
Yes, they're called yoga pants.
My whole thing with buying pants is the length. If I get talls, they're very long. If I get standard pants, they're too short. Because I'm 5'9", but I've got mostly leg. So, I wish that we could at least get jeans like men have, where you have a waist and a leg. That would at least alleviate a little bit of the problem.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem with that, because like you and I are built very similarly, where we're very narrow in the hips, like, and just like legs, like narrow in the hips and legs, and
right.
But women who have some booty and have some thigh, you can't just do a measurement that's waist and legs.
No,
You need that hip measurement. You need that thigh measurement added in there.
We need that butt measurement.
That's right.
We need that slight. We need the slight tummy measurement.
I mean, and that's part of the problem. I mean, men are built in mostly the same way. You know what I mean? Like they're just like they can put.
Yeah.
I mean, dudes look good in jeans no matter what they do, really. I mean, like, other than when they got them under their ass,
What about MC Hammer pants? Those are awesome too.
Or the super skinny.
I love those.
Yeah.
Or the super skinny jeans where, you see them trying to smuggle grapes.
Hey man, that's their
or potatoes, depending.
Yeah, but like young girls like that look. You know what I mean? That's their style from their age bracket. So that's what they're into, and that's fine. Like I think it looks terrible. And if you're pulling your pants down below your butt cheeks, I'm gonna have a serious problem. Like if there's a chance I might see like a scooter stain, I'm gonna be really fucking upset. I don't wanna. I don't want to. Cover it up. Cover it up.
The only way that
I get worried about the coronavirus coming out from the way you wear your pants.
The only reason why we should be seeing a man's ass is if we're gonna sleep with him or if he's a stripper. One of the two. That's the only reasons. Not walking down the street or walking through the aisles of Walmart.
Yeah, remember,
once again, do not judge my life. Like,
do you remember back in the day, like when a guy had a nice ass and a pair of jeans, and you were just like, "Damn." I mean, that doesn't happen anymore.
Hell yeah, I still do that.
Where?
There's a few that you'll see, and you know that it's jeans from the '80s because they fit too perfect. It's like, yeah, you've had those a while, haven't you?
It reminds me of Dumb and Dumber when Jim Carrey the guy and the girl walk by. It's like, yeah, he must work out.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my gosh. Oh Lord.
But I do agree with you, Lady Love, that bras are ridiculously uncomfortable. I have never once in my life found one that was truly, truly comfortable. I've had pairs of jeans though that I felt like I couldn't live without, but I have never once had an actual brassiere that I wanted to keep a hold of for a very long time.
I've had a few because but I have most of the time I get home, I take mine off, and Nick looks at my shoulders and he's like, because I get the red marks, the bruising, the cut-ins, like the dents, and it's so hard to find ones that don't do that. If
you're anything bigger than a B, you're gonna get those.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oh, it's the support and the cup size that makes the difference, and also
and what sucks is that depending on where you buy your bra, you might be one size and you go somewhere else and you're a completely different size.
Yeah,
so it comes down to it where you could be anywhere between like 4 sizes, depending on the cut and the brand.
There's one brand I found that I love. I fit well. And I just found a type that have front closures, so you're not doing that awkward like swizzle around your body trying to get it back.
I can't do front closures.
Do that. I can't.
Okay, my bras have like 4 to 5 hooks. I can't blindly hook that many. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And it has like a racer back, so it actually like feels good. It's like the first comfortable one I found in eons. And I'm like, I want to buy 10 of them because I know they'll go out of stock. The minute I find something I like, they vanish.
See,
you're correct, Neuro, saying that you need proper support and shouldn't spill out. That is
Yeah, a lot of I've had some friends who didn't need to muffin top out of the bra.
Yeah.
Like, that's not necessary.
Or you get the side boobs.
Oh yeah.
Which I sometimes, depending on the bra, I get the side.
Don't judge
side
my
boobs.
life. I want to have 4 boobs. Come on.
You get the spill under. You get the underspill.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, no, this is not.
And then
You want to
if
be the
someone
one
wants to
chick
do-
from. You want to be the one chick from Total Recall on Mars? That had the extra boob.
As many boobs as possible. I'm going to have 6. The 2 on top, the normal 2, and the 2 on the side. I'm going to have
you want
6
side
boobs.
boobs.
I'm just kidding. I don't want to do that.
And then, God forbid, you have 2 different size boobs.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's all. Yeah. Well, I
Yep.
mean, most women do.
Then you're
Yeah.
Yep. Newsflash, guys. They're not always the same size.
No.
Nope.
One's always bigger
Oh.
than the other.
Oh, and then depending
Yep.
on how they droop or how they're formed, you have the ski boobs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever happened to people being comfortable with just regular boobs? Like, if we don't look like we have porn star tits, it's a problem. I don't understand.
I think honestly, I think it is kind of falling out of trend. I mean, there's still the guys that want the boobs up here, and then I could go like this and all that stuff. Like, there are guys that want that, but I think in general, most guys actually do like the more natural. They just don't want it down to the knees. Like, I think that's the difference.
Right.
But they seem to like
at
all
some
that
point
stuff.
you have to have surgery.
Yeah. Well, we'll shove them in there. Layer. make a tiramisu.
Yeah, right.
Heave ho!
Exactly.
Can you tie him in a knot? Can you tie him in a bow?
No one wants to be Miss Chokes on Dick in real life.
Oh, jeez.
Right. Yep.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
So in the chat, apparently average size in the USA is 34D now.
That's what women lie and say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm anywhere from a
Right.
D
We
to
all
a
know
double
that
D too.
I'm
We
at an
know
extra
we
D.
we all know that it's always 36, 38,
38, 36.
not-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to 34 unless you're like 115 pounds. You know what I
And
mean?
that's
Like,
where the fake
Yeah,
come into
soaking
play.
wet.
right.
40 double D.
That's what I'm talking. See, that's
Yeah,
a real
that's-
size. That's real. That's a like.
Mhm.
That's
Triple D.
get it, girl.
Ooh.
What about the woman who wanted the biggest breasts like ever,
Did you
and
see
they were like
that?
literally like out to here,
Oh
and
god.
she had to go out of the
Oh
country
my
to get them so big. It was like they were the size of her entire body. Like how big
Yeah.
they were.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you
you
know
live your
how
life
big
and
that
it's what it is, but God
Doesn't
damn,
she
that's
have-
gotta hurt.
That's the body dysmorphism issue there,
Yeah,
though.
that
Yeah.
is.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure she has a dude who like injects shit into them on a regular basis. Like,
To
is
make them bigger.
yeah, like like every so many months, like she has some specialist come in and stay with her for like 3 weeks to inject more stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw
Oh,
a story about her,
wow.
like, and I was like, this is disgusting. That's so gross, man. Like, boobs should be like,
That-
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. I agree.
you should be able to like you gotta you gotta have the squish and the little, but like you don't need like all that like who's gonna touch that? I mean, who wants to screw a chick? You can't even like play with her tits. Like that's pointless.
As I just had.
Sorry about that.
Oh
Sorry,
God.
I went off the rails
In-
there.
Oh
Well,
no.
we
In
got a
500
leg man in the chat right now saying that boobs don't matter to him personally, just the size. So I guess I would assume if leg ass might be included into that as well. We'll see if
I don't know.
Mr. Charles responds to that one.
I don't know.
Oh, see, I'm a boob
500
girl.
years.
I look at boobs. When I see a woman, I definitely check out her boobs first.
I think that's just because it's the thing
500
that's the most noticeable of a woman is that
Yeah.
because it's just right there in front.
Yeah.
500 years from now, they're going to find graves from this age, and they're going to excavate them, and they're going to go, wow, there's bones and silicone. What the hell? There's like silicone stuck to the chest and silicone stuck to the hip bone. What on earth was going on here?
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure it out. It's going to be, ass implants and boob implants. All right.
No way, man. No.
Oh my God.
I just I can't. I almost did. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was like this close to getting boobs. Like this close.
Oh wow.
I would be on with you at that point. Not in this day and age, but when I was younger and I was thinner. When I was thinner, I didn't really have big boobs, and I felt it when I would wear outfits that they were designed with women with more bigger boobs. And I when I would wear them, like dresses and things of that nature, I felt more awkward in them. And it was like, I want bigger just so I can fill these clothes, that they don't have to be altered. And you almost kind of tricked yourself into almost thinking it. And that's like at a young age. I was like at like 16 to 18 years old that it really started, was like kicking with my brain. It was all like, I think I might consider doing a boob job if this doesn't change at some point.
No, it was like 3 years ago. It was like probably a year and a half after my accident. I was really down on myself, and I wanted something about me to look good. You know, like, I mean, I've had kids. I don't necessarily look good naked anymore. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, but it's like, you know, and once you hit a certain age, things kind of, you know, you lay on your back and get runny eggs, you know, things happen. You just don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, coming from someone who actually has had a boob job.
You end up with stretch marks. You end up with, you know, and I never really wanted a boob job because I had much smaller chest when Russ and I first got together, and he asked me a long time ago, he said, you know, would you ever think of getting a boob job? And I said, no. I said, if you don't like them this small, I love them. So if you don't like them, go away, you know? And he's like, no. But yeah, I've never wanted them bigger. And then when they got bigger with each one of my kids, they got progressively larger. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is a thing. So I was like, all right, you know.
I actually almost had a reduction once because I had the opposite issue. I've always been endowed, well endowed.
Too big.
It was a little bit too big. I mean, I hit puberty very young, and it hit me very hard. And I'm like in 4th grade with bras. I'm 10 years old with tits.
Right.
Very awkward because I didn't look 10. I looked older. So I had like creepy older guys like saying things to me, and I couldn't process. It was very strange at that time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. But I got older, and I went to the doctor just for some like, you know, annual wellness. And she's like, have you ever thought about getting a reduction? And I was like, you know, no. I said, yeah, sometimes my back hurts because of them, but I'm in proportion to myself, and they're part of me. And, you know, the thought of like putting myself through that type of surgery to make them smaller, I'm like, screw it. You know, it's just, they are what they are, and they're part of me. So I'm like, I'm not doing that to myself to fit what, you know, somebody else thinks I should look like. I'm like, no, thanks. And Nick, God bless him. He's like, and, you know, Nick was awesome because we were together at the time. You know, we had just gotten together, and he's like, if you want to get a reduction to make yourself feel better, do it. He's like, I don't care. It's your body. Do what you want. Do what it's going to make you happy. And I'm like, honestly, I'm fine the way I am because I know what they have to do for that surgery, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that to myself. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It can be pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Well, then, like, I remember there being the big thing. Probably with Soleil Moon Frye, I think that's her name, the Punky Brewster kid.
Yeah,
where she had done and she had gone out and saying like this is a big thing, and with that industry, you know, entertainment, that's all about it and all that type of stuff. And it was such a controversial thing of having to reduce them, and it's all like it's hurting her. She is having back problems. She needs this stuff, and it's just it's almost a opposite, as you said. It's an opposite problem. Like, should I worry about it in that sense? I don't know.
Yeah. Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, are you?
I don't know
it's hard to be a female person and feel satisfied with how you look, especially when there's such high expectations.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like there, and I know guys say this too, and that they feel. I know like men who've been like, yeah, well, I feel like expectations are high on men as well.
Be muscular, be bigger. I'm going to bring up a topic that I love, the Try Guys, and they've done both male and female Photoshop from it, and their experiences were kind of interesting if anyone ever like watches those as a thing. They did for female, one of them did like Madonna, and it was one where they like photoshopped the shit out of her face to make her look younger, and one of them got it so like baby smooth and stuff. And it's like you're just bombarded with ads and things of your beauty and how you should be looking and all that kind of constant thing. But the one that really affected them was the one they were doing the male photoshops in that sense, and that's when they kind of like realized, oh, this is really what women have to deal with, because now that's the ideal man that now I have to compete with. More muscles, being, how would I say it, like just one of them just kind of like, I don't know how, like you have to be stern and strong and big and push yourself up and have all this lean stuff, and it was kind of like
have the V.
Yeah, the V. And it's like, although they get fed that, for some reason it just doesn't quite so much, because you can still have the personality. You could be funny and jokester, which a lot of them are like that. They're not the ideal body type. And they kind of started feeling bad about themselves a little bit. You could see it in their face. They would look at it. And then some of them instead started normalizing a little bit. And they were just kind of like, huh, that's weird that I kind of think I should start looking like that. And I don't know.
Right.
It's an interesting point that we are, as women, are very, I guess not numb to it, but are very aware of it. That it's just on constant.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying about the male side of things, because I've had male friends who are like, but I don't look like, it's almost like men feel like women expect them to look like superheroes, chiseled jaw, broad shoulders, but they're supposed to be emotionally supportive and sweet, but strong and stern, and like there's so many layers of expectation, and I feel like I think both sexes feel that way, and for some reason, like I don't understand why, because I think that if we just stop for a minute and accept someone for like the personality and the person that they are, then their attractiveness kind of like becomes even more anyway. Like it doesn't, I mean, looks can matter. Being attracted to someone is important, but it goes so much more, it goes so much past that. And I think that if we kind of like come down off our materialistic high horses, like things definitely have, like you can find that depression over being like the perfect mate doesn't need to be there. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, I think women do worry about that though, like way too much.
Right.
I don't know. Whatever.
Most definitely.
Well, one of my coworkers just had a baby. Actually, 3 of my coworkers just had babies. Kind of
Jesus.
insane. Yeah, I know. Seriously. But she just had a baby a month ago, and she's like, I saw her the other day. She came in to work to take care of something, and she was like, "Oh, I still don't fit my pants." I'm like, "Girl, you just had a baby 4 weeks ago."
Yeah.
Shut up.
I remember seeing an Instagram post where there was a 8-month pregnant woman and another 8-month pregnant woman. There was 2 different. One was thin and fit and looked like she was really 5 months along, and the other one, of course, gained more weight, and that's just how her body had adapted to it, because that's what she is and lives her life. And I think no matter what, at every point, we're always comparing each other to each other, whether we are there doing it to us or we're just doing it to ourselves. It's like we're just never happy, unfortunately.
Right.
And I told her, I was like, "You look beautiful.
Right.
You just had a baby. Don't worry about it. You look fantastic."
Yeah.
Stop like beating yourself up over 8 pounds that you're going to lose over the next couple of months. I said it took 9 months for your body. Well, 8 months. She had a baby a little early, but it took an entire pregnancy to get to that point. It's going to take a while to get away from it. Don't beat yourself up about it.
And for God's sakes, it can take like 2 to 4 years for your hormones to rebalance. So that alone can really affect your weight and everything else.
Yeah, that stuff happens still just because of breastfeeding alone. That's still affecting you.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've experienced, like, I was pretty lucky with my kids. Like, my weight didn't fluctuate too much. As a matter of fact, at this point in my life, my weight has fluctuated more than it did during my pregnancies. I'm more embarrassed of the weight I've put on since I turned 41 over this last year than I was at any point in time after I had my kids. And it's been a real struggle more now than it was then, And I feel
big.
like
You are this big.
No.
You are this
But you're
big.
comparing. But once again, you are comparing
twig.
yourself to yourself. I do the same
Right.
thing for myself.
Yeah.
10 years ago, in that sense, it's like, 10 years ago, I had a great metabolism. I was barely in college and having that stuff. And it's hard because you're just defeating yourself. It's like, why can't I be that 50 pounds lighter that I used to be? And it sucks.
Right.
And yes, it should, because it should be healthier and all that stuff. But it's like, I was also really thin, and I probably shouldn't have been that thin too.
But were you happy?
Right.
Like, are you happy now the way you are, or would you? So that's how I look at it. Because I mean, when I was 18, I was 115 pounds soaking wet, and now a lot bigger than that. But I'm happy. Yeah, there's times where I look in the mirror and
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not.
No, I don't think honestly, I don't think I am either, because
there are definitely days where I do look at myself and I go, ew.
Yeah, with me, I think there's an in-between weight that I was happy, but I didn't appreciate it because I was in a relationship that didn't make me appreciate it.
Exactly.
And so that then caused me to not see what my problem was. And then I almost countered it. Once I got out of that relationship, I was more like, well, then fuck that situation. I don't have to worry about having to go to the gym and having to lose that 10 pounds. And now I'm, 50 pounds more than what I was at that point. And you still don't feel happy with yourself in that sense. I don't know.
And see, that's why I'm at a point right now where I'm like, you know what? I'm done not being happy about it. If I don't change it, that's my choice. And I'm going to sit here and be miserable, hating the way that my body looks now that I've put on 30 pounds, which I know some people are like, 30 pounds. So what? Who cares? For me, it's a struggle because the more weight I put on, the more I sit because the more pain I'm in.
Correct.
So,
I noticed it in my knees because I used to be a runner in high school, and I had really messed up my knees a lot. But I noticed it a lot when I'm going upstairs and down, because of course I'm carrying more weight in doing those type of things, and you just feel it. And then there's the twinge, and then you're like, well, I don't want to go run and do this and put more pressure on it. Right. It's this weird vicious cycle that you really just get yourself.
But if you don't, then nothing happens.
Right.
So I'm kind of I'm at a point right now. I hit a breaking point over the weekend. I'm done with it. I'm like, you know what? I hate the way I look. I'm not comfortable. I'm not happy right now. I may not have been happier 30 pounds ago because I felt like I was too thin. You know what I mean? But now I'm unhappy because I didn't put the weight on the right way. Do you know what I mean? I hit 41, menopause set in, I quit smoking all at the same time. And my body went, hey, guess what? Fuck you. Let's sit this on your stomach for a minute. You know what I mean? And that's where it's at. And I'm I want to get rid of this midsection weight. I'm going to do it. I hit a point where I'm like, fuck it. I'm tired of being unhappy and I'm going to fix it. And that's something I feel like men and women alike, here we are talking about women, but I feel like women tend to accept being miserable more than they will. Because women are tough. They are. They can handle being unhappy. Women can. That it's happened so many times under so many circumstances, from relationships to jobs and everything else. Well, yeah, I mean, we endure pain. You know what I mean? That's just what we do. You know, it's like, fuck it.
Mental and physical.
Right.
Our brains are actually wired. Our brains are actually wired. They're wired differently so that we can handle more psychological trauma than men can in most factors. Women do better handling PTSD situations. Women do better handling stress than men do. We have a greater ability to multitask. Our brains have a greater ability to completely override fight or flight, because we can make decisions based off of the needs of other people way easier than men can. Men have a harder time getting past themselves and into because we're wired to try to protect our children. So we're going to make decisions based off of protection of our children, which is that comes from primal.
I feel like the other thing is but women are more apt to deal with emotions. Not all women, because some women can't. But when it comes down to sex, women tend to just respond to emotion better than men do. Men tend to ignore.
Because we're more allowed to feel those emotions versus men who are given, you got to be a man. You shouldn't be crying. You shouldn't be feeling these things. You shouldn't be doing this stuff.
Exactly.
As babies, we're more coddled as babies than boy babies are. And there is that, unfortunately, growing up, that aspect.
Right. Right.
There was a TED talk I was listening to, and they said that they had done research, and boys at the average age of 4 years old start changing their voice. They stop getting that whiny voice, and they start changing their voice to be more manly.
Mm-hmm.
Girls, on the other hand, the reason why girls, when they're at concerts, they squeal and they always have that higher pitched voice is because they don't start to modify their voice to anything else to go along with society until 14, 15, 16 years old. So they keep that ability to hit the higher octaves. Boys, on the other hand, they're told, don't cry, don't scream, don't squeal, don't do it because it's not manly. Don't do it. It's not manly. And I hate that phrase. I hate it, hate it, hate it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I told my husband when I had my son was I said, never tell him that anything he does is not manly, because everything he does is manly because he's a little man.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what he's doing, and I hate that women do it to each other too, though. Mm-hmm. And I actually feel like that's starting to end. I've seen a lot more of women building each other up instead of tearing each other down.
Oh, that drives me nuts.
I'm liking
I hate that. I can't stand.
I hate it when they tear each other down.
Yeah.
What's the vicious cycle is like, how can we expect change to happen if we're internally beating each other up? It goes along with my other topic, although it's kind of late to kind of start it, but the whole prostitution thing of a lot of concept, of women opposing it in that sense, because, it's not ideal if my man could go off and get his dick sucked for $10 versus me having to do it and having to go work and do other stuff and clean the house and keep him happy otherwise. Like, it's that whole, they're going to be fighting with each other because they don't like what the other one is doing. Oh, when the man cheats, reverse happens too. But usually when it's a woman, if the man cheats, they're more mad at the woman than they are the man who decided to leave and go be with this other woman.
Agreed.
It's like, he's the one that left. You should be mad about that relationship. Yes, maybe she could have been involved. Sometimes she doesn't even know that you are involved in that situation. So how is that
exactly?
I mean, not giving blame to it, but it's beating on the wrong problem. And I've always hated that. That is all like, no, be mad at your man for doing that because he knew he was in a relationship and he chose not to be in one.
Right. That's a choice.
Men, women, opposite situation too. I'm not acknowledging that.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
But I think you see it more because guys, if the woman cheats, guys will be pissed off the woman for doing the cheating more so than the man that they cheated with.
Right.
I
mean, 9 times out of 10, you let a year or two pass by, those two dudes run into a bar and may exchange some grouchy looks at each other, but by the end of the night, they're buying each other drinks talking about you. You know what I mean? The one that was in the middle.
Exactly.
So it's like but women are completely different. Like if those two women cross into each other, like at a bar, coffee shop, or whatever, they enter into the same like thrift store or whatever, and they see each other and they know who each other are. It's gonna be like, oh, that bitch, from both sides. The cheater and the cheatee are like both like fuck her, like whatever. When in all actuality, they were both getting cheated on to some degree, and it works the same way for men, but men tend not to hold grudges against, other men. And that's, I agree with you 100%.
Right.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It's jealousy. I think
cat fight.
With women, it's definitely more jealousy. We're always more jealous of other women, comparing ourselves more than women. Not that men don't do it, but it's when it's men, it tends to be more admiration of something of that nature, more so. I think that's the focus of women, is that we should be admiring these other women and whatnot. In a sense, not the cheating one, but just in general, another woman of it, rather than feel threatened by every other woman that's.
Do you think that is what makes it hard to have female inspiration?
Possibly.
You think so?
Because I don't know if it would be particular for me, but maybe in general, because they could be seeing it almost as a threat.
Somebody else some other female person who is doing good in life, who is happy, who is prosperous and has this lovely entrepreneurship or whatever, and they're not. Do you think that that's why it's hard for women to find inspiration, at least in current times, from other women?
Potentially.
I think I agree with that, because like I said, and I thought about it, and I have more male. No, I mean past, from like
Okay.
history. But like currently in my life, I have more female like female influences, female inspiration, women I know that I appreciate, that I look up to in some way, shape, or form, that I know like current at this point in time, not from the past. You know what I mean? Like even
Right.
as far as like just friends that I know at this point in my life, you guys, like other women that are involved in our circles of people, you know, things like that I look up to, and I'm like, man, I'd really love to be more like that woman, you know, or like artists who are actually pretty famous right now, things like that. Like I have those influences instead of like people from history. I have male influences from history, not female. I don't know. Do you guys feel anything like that? I mean, am I kind of like alone on that one?
No, I do have a lot more female influences now. It feels like the reason why is because there's more women doing more now, and it's more out there. Social media makes it very, very available, and you know, the internet and everything makes it very available to find out who's doing what and how they're doing it, and being able to take inspiration from that. Because like when all of us were younger, you know, we had to actually go to the library and research if we wanted to find out anything about anybody doing anything, or read the paper. Which, when was the last time any of y'all picked up an actual paper? I haven't picked up a paper in years, except to wrap stuff when I moved. You know.
Yep.
Do the Sunday Funnies comics count?
No. Everybody reads those. I wanted to ask you, Grims, would it be any different if it was, because I know you looked into it, is prostitution seen any different when it's male prostitutes?
I actually didn't look into it as much as I originally wanted to. Well, I mean, in terms of prostitution as a whole, from what I kind of know a little bit of, like, it's definitely, how would I say it? They tend to be more a little underground, I guess, in a sense, just because it tends to be more gay, just being honest.
Yeah.
Versus when it's male prostitute with female, they tend to be like, you know, escorts and things of that nature. So they tend to be like more accepted because they're being sugar babied in their own way in that sense. But usually male prostitution, it tends to be in male interactions. And so they tend to be more hidden, more away. But of course there is more violence in a sense to it as well. Because, you know, are they going to go out there and say they're a male prostitute and have the stigma of that as well? Like, it's just like double stigma on them. But I mean, I don't know.
I wonder if it would be, if female prostitution would be seen better if male prostitution was brought more to light. And, you know, not just gay male prostitution, but even straight male prostitution. Because in all honesty, we know that women should be able to go to Vegas and pick up a little side piece for, you know, $20 or whatever. You know,
they want their own magic money.
Seriously. I know.
Go to,
you know.
They just do. You're like, no. Well, there's a lot of women that do that. They want that because it's once again, but I think theirs also comes down to the interaction, having someone who's younger and youthful around them. It makes them feel better about themselves, because then they're youthful too, and they're being attracted by someone who is youthful. So therefore they must appear as youthful and all that type of stuff. Although there are men who really do like older women. That is also a fetish thing as well.
Like the cougar thing.
Yeah, the cougar thing. They definitely really like it. But then there's the guys that do like older women because it kind of reminds them of their mom. I mean, mommy issues do come into the play with
Hello,
it.
Freud.
Yeah, they do. You know, they do say that men want to marry their mother. But yeah, I don't know if one versus the other. I just think, I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought. Sorry.
I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I couldn't.
Be a prostitute?
I couldn't be one. I couldn't hire one. I couldn't.
There's too much work. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's too much work.
Yeah.
But then again, hey, there's sometimes some people have a skill, and I can't judge what other people's skills are. I mean, if you can get into it and be into it and all that, Well, we like phone sex operators are okay. I mean, yes, it's not anything on that, but they pay good money and they make it, and they just have to do the oh, you're so.
I don't think I could do that
like
either. Like I don't
people
think so.
do it. They're back everyone.
I've cracked jokes at times in my life, but I don't think I could actually do it. You know, like with what you're doing, like, you know, cracking jokes with your friends, like, you know, hey baby, how are you tonight? You know, or whatever, like all of that. But I don't think
you all night long.
I don't think that I could actually. I don't know if I could actually do that. Like I don't know.
It's a skill that someone has out there, and someone's willing to pay for it. That's the thing. Yeah. Who am I to judge if someone's willing to pay and there's a buyer? Like,
hey, whatever. It's not just because it's not for me doesn't mean it's not for somebody else. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. I couldn't. Look, Kat. I just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm a one-on-one kind of girl. You know, one-on-one. I'm happy with that. I'm good with that. I don't need any more complications.
I figure it this way: if a woman wants to make money by doing that, and she can keep herself safe and protected, and that's how she wants to make her money, fucking go for it.
You know what?
You know?
Like, more power.
I couldn't do that, but I could be a madam. I could do that. I could do that. I'd run the brothel. I just wouldn't participate.
Okay, so there's this TV series on Hulu called Harlots, which is about prostitution and whatnot from it. But there's one of them
really good.
But there's one of them who is the dominatrix one. So she actually never has sex with the men, but she does whip them and essentially demasculate them and things of that nature. What about that? Because then you're not actually having sex, but
I could see you doing that, Chan.
And being like, yeah, that's right, bitch. You want this harder?
I'd have to think about that. I don't know.
Wait,
I don't know if I could
do it.
I could, Anna. I could see you. You could do that. I believe you could do that, Anna. I do.
I could do
well, she does that anyway. She does.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Anna does that anyway at home all the time with
Wait for the delay of that laugh in the background.
I will neither deny nor confirm that there is a whip in the house.
And we know about the gag ball too.
God damn.
There's definitely a swing I can see in the background.
Yeah. I like about the whole that thing.
I don't see the swing in the background, Jason. You must have a different video feed than the rest of us.
Well, we've seen the basement, so you know.
The basement?
Yes, the basement. I have one of those basements.
You have a red room?
50 Shades of Anna.
Yeah, that's what I say. 50 Shades of
50 Shades of Anna.
A red room.
That girl's last name's Gray. We knew it. Anyway.
Oh, shit. Then is it Russ Steele then as the opposite side? Is he the one being lured into your world?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's exactly why he laughs the way he does.
Oh my God.
We figured it out. We all know now, Anna. Cat's out of the bag. You dumped that purse on the table.
Well, then you know what? I'm gonna have to do next week's show in my leather, okay?
Please do.
Then if you're gonna be doing that, we gotta talk about the strap on. Come on now.
Oh no.
The Deadpool strap on.
Well, you know.
Wait a minute.
You know, everybody's got to have that.
Oh God. Oh my. Yeah. Exactly. Oh my latex. That's right. You said it. Holy crap.
Right. There you go.
Guys, stop judging Anna and her life. God.
Plenty of baby powder in that household.
I hope it's unscented because that itches.
Yep. Oh God.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Well, it is 10 o'clock. Do we want to end it, ladies?
Yeah, I think so. I think we
Yeah,
put
I think so, yeah.
laugh.
Okay, so before we leave, make sure that when you're enjoying this good time that you take a moment out to follow us on Instagram at Total Package Podcast, or Twitter, which of course isn't being used, but Facebook we do use. And of course, if you're watching us live, that the Total Package Podcast on YouTube, as well as on a lot of listening platforms. I need to update this. Podbean, Apple iTunes, Spotify, and what was the last one? Google Play. Did we get that one up yet?
Google Play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Google Play. So we have
Google
them all
Play.
there. You can find us everywhere. Outside of that, does anyone else have anything to add?
Don't forget to like and subscribe and share.
Leave a review on iTunes if you listen on iTunes. Please. Make sure that you like and follow us on Podbean. Hit all the audio platforms and just like and follow us.
Yeah, yeah. And thanks to the chat squad and all of our friends and family that support us in this lovely adventure.
Yes. Please, we want you involved. Please leave us
Awesome.
comments and all that stuff. We love it. It definitely helps. Next week
Keep
is going
making
to
us
be
laugh.
about St. Patrick's Day. So get your questions ready because we're going to be talking about a lot of random
Welcome
stuff
to
with
the
that.
luck of the Irish.
Yes, exactly.
Make sure you wear your green.
Did everybody want to see that leprechaun, y'all? Yeah.
Oh,
Please know that you guys would know that meme. If not, I will play it next week.
Play it anyway.
I'll play it anyway. Yeah,
Yeah, play it anyway.
yes.
Anywho,
Yes.
everyone, have a great evening. Thanks for
Good
joining.
night.
Stay healthy, stay safe.
Wash your hands.
Bye.
Yeah,
Wash your hands.
don't touch anyone else's nose or mouth or eyes.